What do the flags mean in Formula One? Heyo, Chris here. Thanks for tuning into the Delta. Today we're going to continue our series of the Beginner's Guide. And if you're new to Formula One, then you may already know the most identifiable flag in racing, the checkered flag. But there are many flags used throughout the course of a race that help with communication, keeping order, and safety purposes between race officials, the teams, and the drivers. This was a fun one to research because I ended up learning a new thing or two throughout the process, or at the bare minimum, understood the flag's purpose a little bit better. So hopefully you find this video helpful and leave with a better understanding of how a F1 race operates. Let's talk about it. Hey everyone, thanks again for tuning in. If you're enjoying this video, you're going to love what we have over on Twitch. Over there, I may play many games, but with the F1 season quickly upon us, I want you to join me with some F1 gaming content. I am thinking of playing games like F1 23 or F1 Manager on Thursdays and or Friday nights prior to the actual race in real life. For example, if they are racing in Silverstone, we race in Silverstone, and see how we stack up as a driver or team manager. Over there, we can chat about F1, share some opinions, stories, jokes, or anything really, accompanied by some fun Formula One gameplay. Head over to the Twitch channel at twitch.tv/delta_4_7_G to join the fun. Don't miss out, hit that follow button, and be a part of the action. See you there. Oh, too fast, slow down. Oh, missed all those. All right, to start, let's first acknowledge the race officials. These are the people that are responsible for ensuring the races run smoothly and safely and are the people that are responsible for instructing the use of these flags. Let's begin with the most common flags and work our way down to the more rarely used or more obscure flags. Obviously, the first one we'll talk about is the checkered flag. This is probably the most identifiable flag amongst all of racing, and it signifies the end of the race. The driver that crosses the line first when this flag is being waved is considered the race winner. The checkered flag also signifies the end of all sessions, like practices or qualifying sessions. Moving on to the yellow flag now. If the yellow flag is being waved, it is to indicate all drivers to slow down and proceed with caution. The caution can affect an entire track or just a section of a track, but nonetheless, where the yellow flag is flown is where the drivers must be aware of the warning. This is because there's been a minor incident on the track or a hazard of some sort, and drivers are instructed not to overtake at this time. And a safety car will be deployed sometimes. Sometimes it's also considered a virtual safety car in modern Formula One, where the actual safety car is not deployed, but it's understood by all drivers that there is a caution and that they shall adhere to the yellow flag's rules as such. There is a unique use of the yellow flag, and that is when there are two yellow flags flown at once. This basically signifies a more urgent or severe warning. Drivers must reduce speed significantly and absolutely no overtaking at all. As well as they must also be prepared to change direction or stop due to a hazard that is wholly or partly blocking the track. Alright, let's talk about the green flag next, because it runs nicely with the yellow flag. The green flag is used to signify that the race is resuming back to normal without restrictions. For example, if a safety car is deployed after a yellow flag, the cars will follow in a single file line until the track has been cleared and deemed safe again for racing. The safety car will go back into the pits and the green flag will begin to be waved, and the race then will be back in session. The other time that the green flag will be used will be also when it's waved at the start of each day to signify that the first session has begun. So if there's two practices, they'll wave the green flag in the very beginning of the first practice. Let's talk about the red flag next. When the red flag is displayed, all teams and drivers are informed that the race has stopped completely due to an accident that requires extensive cleanup or that the conditions on the track are too dangerous to continue the race. The cars will be instructed to slow down and make their way back to the pit area until the hazard or situation can be resolved. For instance, in testing, a drain cover flew off. We can't be racing in those, so red flag, got to take care of the drain covers and move on. The blue flag. This flag is shown to a slower driver that is about to be overtaken. There are multiple situations throughout the race weekend when this flag will be pulled out. One example can be during a practice or qualifying session where a car is on their hot lap and speeding towards a slower driver who is on their flying lap. Basically, a flying lap is when they're leaving the pits, they don't have full momentum or speed for their next for the testing or qualifying that they're trying to do. So the flying lap allows them to gain speed around the track before their next lap, which would be called the hot lap, which is where they're going full bore or executing whatever programs or testing they need to do to their car. Another example is during a race, if a driver in the back of the pack is about to be lapped by one of the front runners, they'll wave the blue flag to let that driver know, hey, you're slow, and the people that are still like racing hard right now, they're about to pass you. You need to make way for them so you don't impede on their race. The red and yellow striped flag. Here's one that I've hardly heard of, let alone understood, but it turned out to be really, really simple. When the red and yellow striped flag is displayed, it basically just means that the track's grip has deteriorated to a point where the surface has reduced traction, usually from oil or water. But basically, it's a flag to say, hey, the track is a little slippery out there. This is a flag that I'll personally be looking for throughout this season because I feel like it's used more commonly by just the definition of it. And I just haven't been aware or seen it being flown often. If you've seen it, let me know. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, this one is really, really interesting to me, and I'm going to be looking for it as the Formula One season moves along. Another thing about the flag, though, you may also see it being like rocked back, like right to left, instead of being waved to inform drivers there is a small animal on the track, which surprisingly was more common than I thought too. So this is what I'm saying, like, why am I not seeing this flag on television? So there's definitely a few racetracks throughout the year where animals make their way onto the course, and again, I've never seen the flag, so my eyes are peeled for it. But let's move on. The white flag. This flag is waved to tell oncoming drivers that there is a slow moving vehicle ahead. An example for the white flag might be like after a practice session, like on the final corner, a lot of drivers will then like stop there on the grid and practice their starts. So it will be waved to let the drivers that are approaching be aware that there's other cars ahead of them right after this corner. Another example of the white flag would be if there's a recovery vehicle on the track that is like moving a disabled car or has been involved into an accident. They'll bring out a piece of construction equipment basically to lift this vehicle up and get it off the track. I actually will find this to be relatively rare anymore because usually the yellow flag is being used to prevent a catastrophic event at that time, and they'll either stop the race or make sure everything else is done before they start bringing people and other pieces of equipment out onto the track, just for safety purposes. Formula One has focused very, very heavily on safety over the years, and it's better to be safe than sorry. So I just don't see the white flag being pulled out to allow the rest of the race to go on while other people are working on the track. They'll just yellow flag it or virtual safety car it or straight up just stop the race completely before allowing drivers having to basically pay attention to something that they typically wouldn't have to. Moving on is this black and white flag. And despite it being the same color as the checkered flag, you cannot confuse it. It's a flag that is half black and half white, divided in the center, like from corner to corner. This flag is displayed to a driver who's being warned of unsportsmanlike behavior and is being let known about it. That if the behavior isn't like changed, there will be a penalty assessed to him, or worse, even a disqualification. This flag is also displayed with the driver's number so that everyone knows who the warning is being communicated to. The black flag. This is the flag that is automatically followed after the black and white flag if the driver continues with their racing infringements. In short, it's the disqualification flag. Drivers must call into the pits right away, and this decision is made by the stewards of the race. I've never seen a black flag in the 3 years that I've been watching, but it does seem like it is the flag of infamy because it just goes down in the record book as this was the driver who got disqualified, probably for being an idiot. So you don't want to get the black flag if you're the driver. And I mean, it would definitely make for a great talking points about a race if we got to see a driver get disqualified for that. The black and orange flag. This is a black flag with an orange circle in the middle and is accompanied by the driver's number. It is used to communicate to the driver that their car has damage to it or a mechanical issue that is severe enough that the race officials deem it unsafe for them to continue on the track. Because sometimes, like, a driver will have an issue with their front wing or something like that, and they'll continue to drive, and you're like, well, I mean, isn't there something wrong with their car? They need to go get it fixed. Well, if the team deems or seems that, like, hey, you can continue the race and we don't have to pit right away to get this fixed, they'll let the drivers continue. But if the race officials find that it is unsafe to have that damage done to the car, they'll wave this flag, letting the driver know they have to go into the pits and get this issue resolved. All right, on to the last flag, the Code of 60 flag. It's really obscure. I've never heard of it. It's the flag that I've never seen and learned about researching this particular video. And I don't know if it's because of just this day and age with the technology, like the flag just not needed when you can just post it on a message board on the track. So again, it's a flag that I want to see out there just because, like, now I know about it. But occasionally a situation will arise where a speed limit must be imposed by the race officials. If the whole track is yellow flag, there will be a board indicating FCY, full course yellow, and accompanied by a speed limit. Or, this is where the flag comes in, it may be a purple flag with a white circle containing the number 60, which means the speed limit is 60 kilometers per hour. And then with, like, the virtual safety car these days, this can just simply be done, signifying that a yellow flag via virtual safety car accompanied by the speed limit. So, like it doesn't even have to be 60. If the race officials want it to be, hey, we can go 100, they'll just plop 100 on there. Or they can just plop 45. Like, we really need people to drive really slow. But they can just do that now, and that's why I don't think this flag is very common. But the zone where the hazard is will be marked with a double yellow flag, and the word slow is shown indicating the affected part of the track. And there it is. Those are the flags used in Formula 1. Seems like a lot of flags, but it seems like the information is also very cut and dry, and the definitions are pretty, stone cold. So I'm just glad I'm just not a race official that has to make these decisions. I'm just a fan that has to understand what the flags mean. Thank you again for watching. My name is Chris. You've tuned into the Delta. And if you're interested in any of these topics that we talked about today, I got the links in the description that will, expand upon them more than I have. If you enjoy the content, please consider liking and subscribing. I would greatly appreciate it. It really helps me out. But until next time, take care, stay safe, and have fun out there. Bye, everybody.